Oh my goodness. All right, let's see if we can see without these things. I'm so glad to be here. I've been here for the last 5 years, which is incredible to even think about. But you were able to hear some really strong stories this morning with our first speaker. And as I was sitting and listening to him, I thought, what's the root of it? And it really is about the nervous system. So I'm going to ask you to join me, and please don't be shy when I ask these things. But who has experienced stress in the room? Just your hands. Okay, everyone? Okay, good. How about anxiety? Yeah, me too. Yeah. How about that feeling of just absolute doom and gloom? Yeah, okay, we've all done it, right? It is a universal thing, and there is a reason why, and it is your nervous system. So I do want to teach you how to regulate really simply, very quickly, effectively, and free. And it comes down to the vagal nerve. You're going to hear it called vagus nerve, vagal nerve. They're all the same thing. So what is it? It is the 10th longest cranial nerve in the body. So it runs from the brain stem all the way through your neck, your chest, your heart, all of your major organs, and all the way through your body. It has such a major impact on the body, and we're really, over the last 10 years or so, understanding how this really can take us off track. So as I was listening to our first speaker, I thought, well, it started with what felt like bullying, and of course probably was, but what happened was a nervous system that got offline. And every time our nervous system goes offline, everything else does too. So your vagal nerve is so important because it really is the bridge between your mind, body, and spirit. So I want you to think about that. If I'm in a moment of anxiety or stress, my bridge isn't really working. There's been something that has gotten off track. So we want to talk about our parasympathetic nervous system. We have two pieces of our nervous system, parasympathetic and sympathetic. There are other main stages behind that, which we'll talk about in a second. But I like to call this our peace system, P for parasympathetic, peace, right? So this is rest and digestion. It is the opposite of that stress, that anxiety, the fight or flight. Everybody's heard that term, right? Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. That's a big thing right now. We all hear about it. But there are three main states. And when we are in a space of calm, we are in that ventral state, which that safety, our brain feels good, our emotions feel good, life just feels calm. If you are one that meditates, you usually feel that state after or during meditation. Our sympathetic, again, I want to give you that little tool. That's our stress system, S and S, right? This is our fight or flight. It is where we are feeling like everything is that perceived threat all day long. How many of us have been in a space where we wake up and we're like, oh, it's a great day to have a bad day, right? And then everything starts kind of flowing from there. Everything feels off. Everything feels off. Our brains are just really feeding us this load of trash. What happens is we get into fight or flight and we don't even realize it. And then, of course, our dorsal state, which is our shutdown, our freeze, our I can't do this anymore, our overthinking, our overwhelm, and, of course, that feeling of hopelessness. And as you heard this morning, that is generally where we see addiction, where we see suicide. We see this feeling of nothing is working for me and nothing ever will. When people come into therapy with me, I find them generally there, right? And they're having a really hard time getting out of this state. And when I say, you know what? I know that you feel like everything around you, the environment is wrong, and it probably is, but one thing is happening within you, and it's that nervous system is off. And if I give you the tools to fix that, you'll start feeling better. And they're like, no, it's not possible. And I'm like, yeah, okay, let's see. So if it's regulated, you feel calm and clear-headed. How many of us have brain fog all day long? I know I've experienced it. I'm sure a lot of people have experienced it. What is it? Dysregulated nervous system or hormones. But usually it comes back to regulating that nervous system. Chemicals in our food will do that too. But if it's regulated, it's emotionally balanced, right? Who doesn't love to feel calm and emotionally balanced? We're not overreactive. We feel connected to ourselves. Our relationships with others is really good. We feel energized. We feel like we are, free of pain. We don't have that chronic inflammation. We have good body awareness. If we're not telling ourselves the story of I'm fat, I'm ugly, things are not great, I feel terrible. This is a nervous system response. Our blood pressure is stable. We just heard about blood pressure and the impacts of our heart. And of course, we're making better and healthier choices. We all know what it feels like to be dysregulated, right? You just said, I feel stress. I know what anxiety is like. Well, also emotional numbness. What is that, right? Because we all know what it feels like to just want to shut down our emotions. I don't want to feel that. I'll deal with it later. It's your nervous system telling you, hey, there's something wrong here that needs to be fixed or something that needs to be identified. These are impulses that are telling you something isn't right here. And that is a space where we're trying to push it away, but it doesn't go anywhere. We have to deal with the dysregulation. Of course, mood swings. I always like to give the example. If you're the person that gets in the car and everything's fine, and then you have a little minor inconvenience on the roadway and you're yelling and screaming and honking, your nervous system needs a moment, right? So think about that. Your digestive issues are a big thing with a dysregulated nervous system. Inflammation, feeling disconnected, feeling stuck. I hear that word all the time, and I'm like, are you physically stuck? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay. So we're emotionally stuck, or our nervous system is offline. Overwhelmed. We see autoimmune disease when our nervous system is not being regulated over a long time. And of course, this inability to sit, to relax. We're stuck on. A lot of times when people come in and they've had a lot of trauma, I'll ask them one simple question. And the question is, do you have a hard time sitting still? And the answer is yes. I'm like, why? Because it doesn't feel safe, right? It doesn't feel like we have the ability to shut down, to relax. I'm always on the lookout. Your brain's number one job is to keep you safe. So if your nervous system is offline, the brain is always constantly looking for the threat. And we really need to think it, but we also need to fix it, right? So in short, if your nervous system is offline, if the vagal nerve is dysregulated, you're going to feel it in what I call the 5 masters of our lives: emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, and financial. How many of us like shopping when we don't feel like our stress is being regulated? We heard drugs, food, all kinds of things. These are called coping mechanisms, in which I always say, thank your coping mechanism. Thank it for keeping you alive and letting you know that there's something wrong, but also let's fix it, right? So there is an emotional impact to a nervous system or a vagal nerve that is not in good working order. And here's how you know. Your emotions are processed through our vagal nerve. I always say to people, if you don't know what your emotions are doing, it's time to really sit with ourselves. But we all know that experience, right? Where our stomach starts feeling sick when we're stressed, or we're anxious. Our hands are shaking when we're, feeling like we can't get ourselves under control. Or this is a good sign that your nervous system is regulated when we just take a really good deep sigh. And we're like, right? Usually that's when my kids are like, what's wrong? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I feel good. Everything's fine. So that is our vagal nerve at work. You probably even have some little things that you do that you don't even realize it, and it's your nervous system trying to regulate itself. A lot of people will rub their hands, bite their nails. All of these things are ways that our nervous system are trying to get our attention. So our brain relies on our nervous system to perceive our internal and our external worlds. It's really important because, again, your brain's job is to keep you safe and to keep everything going. But this is what's really important. The sensory input that we get really relates into the nervous system. So we're looking at body language, right? How many times has somebody been like, yeah, I'm good, I'm fine. everything's fine. And you're like, you are lying, you are not okay, right? We know that. Or tone of voice, where someone says, oh my gosh, I love you, it's so good to see you. You feel that, right? The nervous system's like, wonderful, friend. Or I love you, it's great, right? And you're like, ooh, okay, sorry. So you know that, and that is your nervous system talking to you. Emotional cues. If you see someone cry, do you start crying? I'm that person, right? I have a hard time in sessions sometimes. But that's your nervous system responding to the energy. And it also takes in cues, right? The car is coming too fast. Be aware, there's danger. It's getting your attention to let you know there's something to pay attention to. It also does something with the heart. We just heard about what happens when the heart gets dysregulated or when the heart has disease. But when we talk about the nervous system and the heart, it does something really beautiful, and it is the heart variability, heart rate variability, HRV. Now, if you're somebody who meditates, does breath work, yoga, any kind of journaling, any of these things that are really called self-care, you're going to find that you actually have a better rebound in your HRV. And I'm going to give you some tools here in just a few minutes on how to create a better HRV. But your breath is a beautiful way to bring your heart rate down. We all know when we get excited, that flutter feeling, that means our heart rate's really high. So if we want to actually rebound, recover in our nervous system, we want to have a higher HRV, which allows us to be able to adapt to stress, to get back to calm, more center, and even get into more rest and relaxation. Remember our peace system. And so if we don't have a very good HRV that's lower, we may not be as resilient. We may have a harder time sitting still. We may feel that as we move through the day, these little small things that don't impact other people feel like the weight of the world is sitting on us. That means that we really need to regulate our nervous system. We really need to regulate our HRV. So there are some ways that we can strengthen what is called our vagal tone, which of course I've already mentioned is breath work, meditation, cold exposure. That's been a big thing. Anybody ever done the cold dunk thing? Yeah, loved it? No. Like, absolutely not. I actually loved it myself, but yeah, it's cold, right? So there are ways that we can build the resiliency and feel safe and connected. Now, what is the number one way to get our nervous system back into alignment? Any guesses? Breathing. Yeah, I already told you, right? Breathing. So, but it's not just breath. How many of us actually breathe correctly? Everybody's going to put their hand up. I do. You don't, right? Unless you've been taught how to breathe. If you watch a baby or you watch a dog, an animal, you're going to notice that when they take a good inhale, their belly is actually moving out. When we are sitting, we are normally breathing and our belly is contracting inward, okay? It's going towards the spine. We don't want to do that. The proper breath is in filling the balloon up and then breathing out, contracting it. That's the way we get the nervous system into regulation. So if we want to use our breath, one of the best ways to do that is to take a really slow inhale. We're going to hold it, and then we release it out. We're flattening that belly. So that is a really good way to get the nervous system to react. In fact, let's practice together. Anybody want to breathe? Right? So feet on the floor, right? And you're going to inhale, and I'm going to count. We're going to inhale for 4 in through the nose. We're going to hold it for 4, and then we're going to blow it out through our mouth, open mouth, like it's a birthday candle. This room should be full of the sound of breath. Okay? Are you ready? All right. So inhale, we're going to breathe in to 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 4, 3, 2, 1, and out through the mouth. 8, 7, 6. I can't hear you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You just activated your nervous system. One breath. Imagine what would happen if you did that 10, 15, 20 times. And by the way, that takes less than 5 minutes. It is a huge impact on the nervous system. So remember this, I'm going to leave it up for just a second. You can take a photo of it. It's an extremely easy way to get the body back into regulation, back into calm. And what it does too is it releases all of those good chemicals that you heard about earlier, the dopamine, the serotonin. It helps you get into a state of relaxation. So I'm going to wait until the cameras come down before we move on. But there's some other ways that you can do this if breathing is something that you don't feel like you have time for. You do. But you can gargle water. You can put your face in cold water. That's something that's also been very popular lately. I personally have never tried that. Doesn't sound that fun to me, but I've done the plunge. So yoga is a huge one that you can do. I know we have some yoga teachers. We were sitting together. This is a very beautiful way to get the body back into regulation. And here is one that I often love to teach, and you may not even realize this, but slow, mindful eating is a very good way to get the nervous system back into a really healthy place. We're taking breath. We're chewing, which activates the nervous system, the vagal nerve. We're aiding our digestion, and we're working towards relaxation in the body. It's very beautiful to do that. The nervous system is absolutely the key to overall health. And of course, things can go wrong, but if we have a regulated nervous system, we have a much better chance of being able to rebound in the immune system, be able to get better energy levels, and to be able to have a healthier and happier perspective of life emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, physically. So I'm going to teach you some things. All right, who can do this? Yeah, lots of people. I once said this to a young girl. I said, "Can you do Spock fingers?" And she was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And I was like, yeah, awesome. All right. So V's, and what you're going to do, I'm going to take my glasses off so you can see, is you're just going to move your hair out of the way, and you're going to place the pinky on the outside of the ear and the rest of your fingers behind your ear. You're going to put a little slight pressure on the temples, and you're going to breathe, inhale, up, and you add a little bit of pressure, bringing the earlobes up, and then you're going to exhale, bringing the fingers down. Doing this 4 or 5 times connected to the breath allows for the nervous system to fully come to calm. If you're somebody who experiences a lot of migraines, a lot of headaches, this is a fantastic tool to get some relief. It is free, it's easy, it is something that works. I know when people are sitting with me in session and they're crying, they're having a hard time, I always say, let's just take a moment of reset, and we do this, and I tell you what, it will change the way that you feel if you practice it. So that's the first one. Go ahead and take your pictures for sure. It is something that I do a lot. It's something I taught my son, who is an athlete. When he's feeling the pressure of going out there and wanting to hit a home run, I'll say, "Did you do your V fingers?" And he'll say, "Yes, Mom, I did," right? But it is something that absolutely works. And when you connect it with your breath, it is a game changer. Now, this next one feels a little weird, and you can do it 2 ways. But it is to take your thumb and place it right where your jaw meets your skull, right outside of your ear. Now, there are some people that this doesn't feel comfortable, and they like to do it behind their ear in the same spot. Doesn't matter, right? Is one more effective than the other? Depends on your body and your makeup. But what you do is you take those thumbs and you just do some nice circles, like 30 seconds of these circles. I don't even care when you first start that you connect your breath. Doesn't matter. Make sure you're not doing your temples, but we're just going to this space. If you are somebody who can slow down and use your breath, that would be even better. But just make those circles. And after, say, 30 seconds, or that time that you feel your body sort of naturally yawn, naturally release, you feel that slumping in your body, pull your ear. Sounds so weird. When I was little, my grandfather used to do that, right? So go and just pull light tugs until you feel a little bit more release. And at that point, you will take a full deep breath and cup your ear. So it's this process: around, tug, cover. I do not advise you doing this in public, all right? This is about the only room that you could do that and get away with it, right? But that absolutely works, because what happens is it activates and connects to the brainstem. And of course, we know that that is where the vagal nerve starts. So if we can activate that place, then what's probably going to happen is we're going to have feedback throughout the entire body. So it's a beautiful way to send the relaxation. It is a wonderful thing to do if you have a hard time sleeping. That is a really good way to get yourself back into a space of calm, get those thoughts to slow down, and when you connect it to your breath work, after just a bit of time, you're going to be out. Really beautiful. How many people rock back and forth when they're talking to people? Yeah, I'm not doing it today, but I do that a lot. You do as well. What that is your body telling you naturally it needs some regulation, back and forth. This is a really great way to practice. So for me, my morning looks like sitting with my pen and paper, doing a little bit of journaling. Then I go into my meditation time, and then I stand and I will stretch, and then I have a little bit of forward and back. It is a great way to activate the vagal nerve from head to toe. If you connect it to the breath, then we have the system downgrade, the downshift in the body. I want you to think about this. Your morning routine, if you start it in a way that's calm, you're likely to carry that throughout the day, or I should say, and you actually have a greater HRV. Remember that heart rate variability rate. We want to be able to take that throughout our day. So how you start is typically how you finish. A self-hug is also something that you can do. So I want you to remember that when you're regulating your stress and your nervous system, it's not just about trying to get to a sense of calm. It's actually about coming home to yourself, right? It's about being able to regulate. It's about being able to get into a space of those 5 masters, all being in alignment. Our mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and financial health. We don't talk about that enough, but trust me, if your nervous system is dysregulated, so is that. So I want to open the floor if we have a few minutes, to ask questions. That was an elementary review of your nervous system, but it's enough that I want you to understand that you do have the ability to regulate it with very, very simple and easy practices. But thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay. Thank you. Oh, it's good to see you.
Good seeing you.
Soon.
Yeah.
I'm Danielle Vann. I'm a cognitive behavioral therapist, life coach, and an expert in anxiety and the nervous system. And I'm here today to educate people on the nervous system and the impact it has on our sleep, on our health, our mental health, and how we kind of correspond with the world around us.
And what do you want people to take from this event today?
I really want people to understand that lifestyle is so important, and we get into this habit of just go, go, go and autopilot. And if we just take a moment to slow down and think about what I call our 5 master areas of life, which is mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and financial health, that we have the ability to really own our lives and find calm and center and be productive.